I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy. Think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen.
Hello and welcome listeners to another episode of Tactical Awareness. It is Season 1, Episode 36, Mailbag Madness. We are winding down ITS Season 14 with the new Season 15 pack announced and all the spoilers coming. We're taking mailbag questions and just shooting the breeze. It's hard to make evergreen content when you don't know what the season's going to look like. So let's dive in, see what's been going on with Owen and Dan, and we'll get this underway. I don't understand any of the words you just said. What?
Single player games are multiplayer games now.
What about
I'm kidding. They're not even games.
Diablo 4 Multipass doesn't give you enough things to play the Diablo 4 Multipass? Explain.
If you buy the Diablo 4 Battle Pass,
right,
which is to say the single player game that is Diablo, is a multiplayer game that also has a seasonal rotation.
Okay.
The currency gained from buying the Battle Pass is not enough to purchase the items that are in the in-game shop. So you have to purchase additional currency in addition to the Battle Pass in order to buy the things that the Battle Pass allows you to unlock.
Well, yeah, what do you want? Free shit?
Yeah, no, it's not free. You have to pay for it in the first place. It's just the Battle Pass purchase isn't enough.
You purchase the right to make this purchase is what you purchase.
It's like, I'm going to...
Welcome to Diablo Cast, everybody. Yeah. Diablo Cast.
I'm going to sell you a ticket to my theme park and then charge you for each ride in a roller coaster tycoon type system. Only we call it video games now.
I think our cold opens are getting even better.
I love Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I've never played Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I tried to play Roller Coaster Tycoon as a kid where I would charge like a normal theme park where you only pay for like food inside. And it doesn't work because they were like, nah, it's too expensive to go to that amusement park. And it's like, but all the rides are free. No, they want to pay $5 for entry and $2 at every ride.
Oh man, I got up to like $10 every ride. No better rides.
I like that you're basically talking about so this game.
Most of those rides were death traps.
This game taught you late stage capitalism. Is that what you're telling me? There's a game that just taught kids how to engage in late stage capitalism and get price gouging.
Charge $100 to use the bathroom and nothing else.
Once you got
there's only one bathroom.
You could research the roller coaster that like would spin up and then come back down, which means it had an end that you could shoot the people off of. And then you'd build one that would start on one end, and then it would launch them into the entryway to the theme park. And they'd all blow up and die. As soon as someone died, you were no longer allowed to open up that. You didn't close on your theme park, but it closed down the ride, and you weren't allowed to use the ride anymore because it killed people. But it didn't stop people from being really happy as they danced around the corpses of the people that just died because they had an ice cream.
They love those mascots. If in doubt, throw more mascots at it.
Tremendous. So hey everybody, and welcome to Roller Coaster Tycoon Cast. As you can tell, we're in late season ITS14, and so we're winding down season 1 of Tactical Awareness. There's not a lot of like evergreen content we can make right now, so we don't really have a plan for tonight. We're kind of freestyling it, as you might have been able to tell.
So give me your opinion on close combat in Infinity. Because 100 comments later in the episode.
I know that was such a great and that's what's great about this mailbag. So we are going to lean into the mailbag. It is brimming right now. Just so you guys know, we have like 20 questions in here, which is amazing. And I think we're just gonna do mailbag episodes until the new season kicks, or until like after Nova Open when they do the spoilers. So we're gonna do mailbag madness and just argue with each other and shoot the shit and be extra ourselves, I think, for the next couple weeks. I hope you guys enjoy that. So yes, we're gonna do 4 questions, I guess. We'll do 5 questions instead of the normal 3, because that'll give us a little bit longer runtime. And just see where this goes. And then you guys go into the link in the description of this podcast and fill this up with more of your mailbag questions, because this has been great. It stimulated some great conversation last week. I apologize for last week for my absolutely garbage reception. My earpods are dying, and it did. I thought they were going to sound way better just because my connection was way better, but apparently I could have actually just held the phone to my face and done a better recording than having my AirPods in. And they're the AirPods Pro, so don't buy AirPods Pro. Yeah, we're not getting sponsored by Apple. They're garbage. They've died in like 8 months. Just don't buy them. They're terrible.
Don't buy Apple anything.
So yeah. I'm literally recording this on an Apple computer.
Yeah. Idiot.
I know I'm the outlier.
Let me tell you about my computer. It can do everything.
So can mine.
Yeah,
mine's been doing everything for years. All right. So let's do our usual roundup and catch up on what everybody's doing for the week. I know you and Dan Owen are getting ready for Hotter Than Hell's Kitchen.
Basement.
Hell's Basement, right? You're doing the opposite of Colder Than Carbonite, which is the August tournament in Alberta. So you guys probably, I mean, Dan might be getting ready lists. I don't know. You guys tend to last minute everything, but
I'm trying to build Drew's.
Dan committed to a faction. I couldn't even commit to a faction.
Dan committed to a faction? What a maniac.
Well, I could change it, but I set up mine that I was going to play something, but who knows?
Well, I've been getting train ready for a 12 table for Summer Siege. I just confirmed with the venue, so our venue's on and ready to go. I've got a few more people trickling in. Friday, we will lock, and I will take everybody who has registered but not paid off the list. I do have someone who did not. They sent me PayPal but didn't send me their ITS number. So if you're listening to this, and I've reached out and said, "Hey, what is your ITS code?" Make sure you send it to me because we'll have to. I mean, it won't stop you from playing. I'll just manually add you back in when you get there, but it'll slow things down. So
we're taking your money and you get to watch.
Taking your money, and you can just walk. That's right. You're the bringer now. We'll see how it goes. And I should make a ringer list. We'll see if that happens, but hopefully Spud will be there, so someone will dive in. So what have you been doing, Owen? What's the sorry, not Owen? Dan, what's the list you committed to, seeing as how you've been the hot take on this week?
I was going to try to play Drew's again, because last time I played Drew's in a tournament, I arrived a little late, and then all the lists I had wouldn't print off, and then I got there and I realized I didn't save them properly, so I had to remake the lists 2 minutes beforehand. I forgot to even draw my my secret objectives.
You did it real hard.
I was like, I don't know how to play Infinity, so I want to give them another chance. Dan. I want to give them another chance, and I did a practice game with them yesterday. Yeah, last night I played a little practice game against some QK with a local guy, and
was it Owen?
No.
Okay, because Owen was going to play QK.
Oh, I know. He didn't bring any of the new stuff because he didn't own any of the models.
Reasonable person.
We both had fun with 1-1s and Bashi Bazooks at each other's throats. And I played incompetently, like I always do, and then we tied 4-4. But it was a crazy little game on Supremacy. I didn't
bring double Harris?
Huh?
Did you bring double Harris?
I don't even know. I went first, and my grenade launcher from downtown went kabow, kabow, and he went and lost the lieutenant. And then Saito came out of the woods and ran up and killed his Azrael. And I was like, you can't do anything. And then somehow he tied it. So I don't know what happened there.
Somehow he tied it? I don't understand.
Somehow he tied the game.
No, I know, but like, how did he claw it back? Like, there must
somehow I left one of my zones completely empty. He brought in a 1-1 for 8 points on the side, and then claimed 2 points in the second turn.
Oh, so he played good.
I played poor. He played fine. I'm not saying he played bad, but he played fine. I played very poorly and allowed him to come back.
Roger that.
That's what you get for not playing.
That's what I get for not playing for a while. But man, I miss playing Infinity. Infinity is such a fun game.
Taking time off like a sucker.
Yeah. But my girlfriend is in Germany for the next 3 weeks, so
Woo!
Infinity times.
You're free and clear.
That's all.
What about you, Owen? So what is the short list of 17 different factions you might play?
QK's on the list because of the double Harris
and the glow up. Yeah.
I mean, the glow up is literally just the 2 models, and it is true that they're not out. I have more than enough guys who could stand in, either because they're dead models, like the Bertuck could be the old Azrael, because he has the same kind of heavy infantry vibe, and he doesn't exist as a model anymore. And the core sands, like, pick your poison of which variant of like I have, I think, 16 different types of Yuan Yuans. I have all of them.
Yeah, you got the original one too. The one that came with, what was it? Red Veil. When we split Red Veil. I think you got that Yan Yan in the box.
I have 3 of those.
Yeah, that's right. You have 3 of them? Oh man, I wish I had one.
I've got the fat Yuan Yuans. I've got the classic Yuan Yuans. I've got the then updated version of the classic Yuan Yuans.
Do you have Christmas Yan Yan? Christmas fat Yan Yan on his motorcycle?
I didn't get the motorcycle one because I don't like the motorcycles all that much, other than the Coom Rider thing. But then Coom Riders are dead to me. But then I was thinking about playing Coom Riders because I was like, oh, I could play vanilla Hakuza because I haven't played it in so long. And I have all the motorcycles, which is sort of a thing now that doesn't exist because you can't really buy them anymore. Like I have the twins and everything too.
Right. Yeah.
But I also have Maximus and Agamemnon, which is 120 or 130 points in a vanilla Aleph army.
So good.
And yeah, maybe.
Double tag, man. Like, that's a big spend, but they are rock solid, the 2 of them.
Like Maximus and Agamemnon, the only thing you need is a good hacker, and vanilla Aleph has like 3 of them.
Like, yeah, like all of them.
It can't be in Asura, though.
Just take Sila.
Can't be in Asura.
No, it's 3 points.
Sila.
Yeah, Sila's amazing.
Because Maximus is immune to possession, and I have the Thermopylae Maximus, who would look perfect with my Steel Phalanx paint scheme, because they're already painted in the red and gold, and so it's like, oh, perfect. And then I have like an army of Dakinis and Rudras and
like
a few of the
guys,
support staff.
Yeah. You could, if you did that, you could take the Evo Sila that I think has upgrade Trinity, and that way you'd have Fairy Dust.
I don't have Sila.
Oh, really?
You can't buy her.
Really?
She's in the out of production pile.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, again, it's not like I'm short of models that could stand in for her, but on the other side, I don't like standing models in.
Yeah.
So
maybe we'll find one. Ask on the trading groups.
2 Harrises.
Ask on the trading groups.
What's that?
He did have 2 Harrises.
Yeah, I'm sure he did, because that's the big thing. Like, getting the Corsans and the Burtuck are cool. Second Harris is like relevant. Like, every list will benefit from being core Harris.
Yeah,
not every list is.
You're basically toe hot at that point, being able to take 3 Harrises.
Yeah.
So it was really funny because he's in faction Doctor +3, and he kept on shooting medkits, and he kept on killing his own guys. It was really funny. But anyways,
yeah, I don't know. I like the tags. I know there's a question about tags.
There is, yeah. Actually, it's the first question.
They're still good. Like the other, the other one is fuck double mag. Just bring double mag.
Just go for shock
at an event in a little while, and I can just show up with Rama Task Force double mag Regard.
This podcast comes out after the event too, so there'd be no warning.
There's no heads up.
Yeah, there's no heads up.
Is just Magariba guards are not ideal at holding rooms, and one of the missions is a room.
They definitely.
And so, like,
I mean, take an alt list, right?
I mean, well, you park a Magariba guard on each side of the door.
Come in.
So, like, you have one on the left and the right, and then there are 360 visors, and their flamethrowers can shoot anything inside the room, even if there's terrain inside of it. So, like, it's not nothing. But I don't like having my Magariba guards up front. Like, they play like a rubber band off of each other.
Yeah.
Goes forward and then snaps
slingshots. Yeah, they slingshot each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good play. The room mission would be the hard one. What are the other ones? It's highly classified and
supremacy.
That's right. They'd be great in supremacy because it's all end game scoring or round scoring.
And highly classified is middling. Like, the doctor's inside of it, so it's like, we could.
Well, and if you're doing Rafiqs with them, right, then you've got the specialist attached.
Yeah.
And also the hacking, because you've got the if you need to do any kind of like hacking defense, whatever,
those sweet, gives you the bubble reads.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not nothing. That's pretty cool.
I don't know. There's choices on the table. Mm-hmm. I also have a Stigmata that I've got fully painted now. and like a Bakunin list that could be fun, but
It's more twitchy. It's more twitchy and less like reliable.
I'm really leaning against, like, I was all ready to play QK because of the double Harris, but I've been looking at Maximus and I'm like, what faction could I play Maximus in that I really have the model collection to play it? Because I actually, Pano is my least collected faction other than Yu Ching.
Yeah, because you just went hard in the Knights. You never really got anything else for Pano.
So like I have everything for military orders. I can play all the military orders.
Yeah.
But if you're playing like the military orders models, like the guys that make up that faction are kind of bad if you don't play them. Like if you're going to play Svartalheim, yeah, sure, you might bring the Hospitaller.
You bring that to Justice probably because he's a wild card to like lead your Harris as point man.
Yeah,
with like cheap
and
dudes.
Like you might bring the Infirmer, but you're probably not. You're probably going to bring Karu.
You're definitely bringing Karu if you're playing Winter 4 because they're amazing,
which I don't have, and so it's like, I'm not going to play them. And then you're like, what about Varuna? Well, I don't have orcs, and I don't have Zulu Cobras, and I don't have Helots, and I don't have any of these guys, right?
It's funny because when you played military orders and I played all the other Pano factions.
Yeah,
that was how it went.
Kamaus,
so you didn't really need to. Yeah, the Kamaus. Yeah.
So, and because again, Maximus, that's kind of his other home outside of Aelif. I'm like, because I think he's really good for 70 points, 71 points, whatever. He's right there as like, I think he's one of the best S6 tags. Like, yeah,
he's not bad. He's definitely not bad. I think that
like treat him like a heavy infantry is kind of my perspective.
He is, yeah. The only thing I don't love is that he can't go prone. Right, he has no ability to drop, so like he can never really hide if there's nothing big enough for him to hide around. And I do understand the Achilles argument, but like I don't know, he brings a bunch of things to the table, especially that assassination proofness, right, of having Natural Born Warrior. He's tough. Immune to possession is a big deal.
Well, that the immune to possession is what I feel puts him over the heavy infantry. Like makes him, he's not a tag anymore, because like the tag to heavy infantry is always, if I get possessed, it's bad. Like that threat is always on the table. And this guy, I would say uniquely, but it's not because the avatar exists. He's one of the very select few of tags who doesn't suffer from the major tag weakness, which is I'm my enemy's model now.
And he does have a fairly significant weakness that is kind of overlooked, is that he's not remote presence, so you can't reroll repair checks against him. So you can accidentally break him with if you end up trying to fix him. Like you need to kind of go into the idea of like, I probably just don't. I shoot Gizmo Kits at him instead because he's Fizz 13 for Gizmo Kits, which is actually pretty good. He has big tag repair stats for Gizmo Kits.
The only one is I shoot med kits at McMurrow. That's as
close. You always shoot med kits at McMurrow, yeah, because he has an 80% pass rate. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, like Agamemnon, Maximus, 1-2 punch. Feels
I can see it. Yeah,
there might be something there.
I like his multi-marksman rifle. I like the fact that he can double burst his DA shots if he wants, or quad burst the AP. Panzer Fighters is no joke. He's good in melee.
Yeah, and then he's got a bunch of like resiliency with crit immune, possession immune, armor 7 as a size 6, which puts him at 10 when he's in cover. Notably, size 6, I'm pretty sure he can squeeze through the doors in the armor.
Yeah, he can squeeze through the doors in the armor because his size 6 is still only a 40 mil base, right? So he can go to 1 inch for getting through a door.
So he can squeeze into that room and be like, "Hello, friends. I suppress. Dig me out."
Yeah, I double dog dare
you. You could hit. Obviously, I'm going to bring an Evo hacker or Evo repeater because then I can go firewall tag. So they're BTS 9, the two of them, effectively. Agamemnon has ECM 3, so he's -6 to hack and BTS 9.
Yeah, makes him very hacking resistant.
And he's got a big flamethrower.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that Maximus can dodge on 13s too is no joke. Like he has a decent dodge for a tag.
Yeah, and he can dodge into close combat and be the best close combat.
Wait. I thought close combat
CC24
doesn't
Never
exist.
Warrior, yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It's when the Cascuda falls on him and he has to dodge into it, thus stopping the Cascuda.
Yeah.
I don't know when that'll happen.
With his CC24 Fizz 17 damage.
AP plus DA punch.
Yeah, he's got a McMurrow sword.
He's got a McMurrow sword with better.
Except it's like this is literally his bare hands.
He has a no. He doesn't have a weapon.
He doesn't have a weapon at all.
It's just
him pummeling people. Like that's my favorite.
He just throws hands at him.
Yeah, he just stone cold stunners everything.
Because the Agamemnon has the hammer. That's right.
Agamemnon has the hammer. He just bashes him with the shield and then gives him the stunner. Can I get a hell yeah?
Yeah. Oh, man. But anyway, yeah. So that's what's on the table.
Sick. I'm into that. Well then let's get into some mailbag because I've just been prepping for the tournament. That's it. So jumping in with Sear Doman, this is a question for everybody. They say, I love tags. Their models are almost universally gorgeous, and I love playing the big chonkers. However, I often find myself reaching for lower cost models to fill their role at list building, and they just get squeezed out on point cost. Anecdotally, this seems to be the case with tags across the game, with only a few notable exceptions. So my question is as follows. The tags in general need some kind of rules or points adjustment to make them more viable, or they're just factions whose unit choices will always tend to undercut a tag's efficiency, and stares in Yu Ching. So it sounds like Sirdoman's a Yu Ching player, which would make sense because the Gueja and the Blue Wolf aren't super popular tags, although I really like the Blue Wolf. I know we've disagreed on that before when we did the breakdown for the faction. And I have played the Gueja. I played it at the first Tactical Awareness tournament, actually, when I was ring. And found him fine. Like, he's a heavy tag. But I don't know about you guys. I think that tags, I would tend to just disagree with the statement that tags aren't very popular right now. I see tags in almost every event I go to or I've run. I think everybody's got a tag in one of their two lists. What do you guys think? You did mention when we first started this that wasn't the case though in Calgary.
I think it's still iffy on whether it's the case. I think he's completely right that there are some factions that undercut the tags, and some tags, like not all tags are created equal either. Sure. Like looking at you, Shakoosh, looking like the Magariba Guard and the Shakoosh, you don't bring the Shakoosh. Like if you're like, I really like tags, well, I'm going to bring a Magariba Guard. Because like the 20-point difference between the two of them is a 80-point in-game difference, like the functionality between the two. And like, but again, I'm sitting here looking at Maximus and looking at Agamemnon and looking at my Stigmata. They're all literally sitting on the desk in front of me right now, and it's like, yeah, these are all usable. They do a thing.
Yeah, I would say that you tend to, if you make a list with a tag in it in N4, you tend to commit the list to that tag having a big role. And I can see why with some Infinity players that's unpopular, because it is a big commitment to your point values to take that piece, right? And you need to make sure that you're using it properly and you're not risking it. Because it almost always, especially with certain list builds, creates basically like a fracture point potentially in your list. Now, some armies I would say are more robust, and you can still get to that like 15 competent orders and have a backup plan if the tag goes down. Some tags are priced more aggressively. I'm looking at like Gator is priced really, really well. I say the the Magariba Guard is also priced really, really competitively for a tag. And then of course the Stingray series like the Tick Wang and the Ulan are both priced really good.
What is a Gecko a tag? I mean, yeah, he is.
Yeah,
but they're solid for what they pay.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can still get cheap troops in nomads, right? To counterbalance the fact that you've got like a 50-point expenditure, maybe in a Harris or maybe by themselves.
I actually realize now that I'm thinking about it more, the last time I think I ran a single tag in a list was back when you and I were just like when you were starting to play, Dan, and I brought the Sphinx, or that's not the Sphinx, the Seraph.
Yeah.
And that since then I've only ever brought two in a list.
Go big. Yeah.
And well, I mean, it offsets the risk problem, right? Like, there's not a one target that your opponent can like crack and your army is going to be in trouble.
And they can mutually support each other. It's that slingshot
right?
thing you're talking about.
Like, it's like, oh, they've got him pinned down because of a hacker net and like a guy who could engage nearby. Okay, well, I'm going to come from the right now.
Now, some lists don't have that option, obviously, and I think that's what we're talking about. We're talking about those tags that are mid to low point values or big investments. Like, you're not going to have a 2 avatar list. You're not going to have a 2 cutter list, right? Like, they're just not going to be by themselves.
I was going to say, there's probably a few of them there, and all of them are the ones that are above 80 to 90 points.
Yeah.
Where you start going,
you could do double Sphinx, but I don't think you would.
Yeah. Like, even, like, I think double Yodam has some legs. I only have 1 Yodam, so I can't do it, or I would.
I have an extra Yodam.
Oh, don't do that to me, Dan. I don't have any of the other models. I don't know what I would make out of it. I just like, it would be like a knight list with Yodams. But yeah, like I have Fusiliers actually.
I was gonna say, because Fusiliers are in Svartalfheim, so if you wanted a double Yodam, you could do Yodam and then like a Fusi list. Oh, here comes. I can hear Owen's brain in Calgary starting to overheat. Yeah.
Maximus
double Yodam.
245
so let's see what
points.
that would cost. Maximus double Yodam.
It's doable.
Yeah, I mean, you're at 6 orders and 245 points with your first 3 models, but that's a thing.
Yeah, let's go.
I think tags are fun. I think they sometimes feel like they limit your list, but you can work them in. I mean, if you're playing Yu Jing, you're in a tough spot, like we've said. But
yeah, we kind of admitted that up front.
I've had lots of fun with lots of. I mean, I was playing Druze, and I played 3 tags, and I won that game. I mean, it was a silly game, but I won it. That was a lot of fun.
You can have 3 Fugazis in Svartalfheim. Just FYI.
Did you notice that? Yodam, Maximus, 3 Fugazis, Evo Mulebot, normal Mulebot, and a Fusilier. And it's 9 orders with 3 tack wares.
Yeah.
And if I recall, the Yodams can link together.
I think they can. I was just throwing a machinist in for funsies, although he's expensive. If you take the winner for machinist, he's expensive because he's 18 points then.
Wait, can they not? None of them link together?
They might not be able to now.
What kind of garbage? Well, I guess you're just coordinating.
I mean, yeah, why not? I love this.
That's a lot of armor. That's a lot of... Dan, how many anti-tank guns do you bring?
Not enough.
It's not. I mean, it is. If one of the Yodams is a lieutenant, it's 8.
No, Lieutenant Maximus.
Really? I would probably take the Yodam as lieutenant.
Why?
I guess you could take Maximus.
Yeah, Lieutenant Maximus with 2 Yodams.
Are the Yodams whip 12 or whip 13? They're all whip 13, so you wouldn't know which is which. I guess you get the free order that way. Yeah.
Yep, and then you bring the random Fusilier. So they might try and kill the random Fusilier.
I brought a Fusilier hacker just in case one of the Yodams gets possessed. That was what my thought was.
Can't afford that shit.
Sure you can. If you one less order, you can have a Fusilier hacker.
That's what command points are for. You just take it back to your turn.
Just but you're out of command points. You're coordinating a lot in this list, Dan.
You're just coordinating suppression, right? Move, coordinate, suppress. Move,
well, you only got 4 times, 3 turns of the game. I'm just saying. My list was it was Yodam, Maximus, 3 Fugazis, Machinist with a Palbot, Fusilier hacker. And it's 299, 5 SWC. You've got I should be 4.5 with Maximus as the lieutenant. And then you've got 8 and 3.
Extra order because I brought the Evo hacker to put up firewall tag.
Okay.
And then it's like, I don't have a hacker, but now, and I don't have a machinist either, but now I can go BTS12. Leave me alone.
BTS12 is a big fuck you against.
Leave me alone. Yeah. BTS12 armor 13.
You cannot carbonite this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just neg 12ing everybody. That's amazing.
Carbonite does not work against them.
Yeah, can't carbonite this.
I guess you put on a 1.
It's a lot of guns. It's a lot of SWC. You get multi HMGs, heavy flamethrowers. You got a
Bunch of
brawler gun on
Panzerfausts.
Maximus, yeah, Panzerfausts. You got a hacker. Well, I mean, that's the thing with the Fugazis was you'd have a hacker net that way. They have to walk through to get to you. You know what I mean? And you could respawn an arrow with the Fusilier hacker, throw at targets to win the gunfights.
Yeah. Or
I've kind of been ignoring hacking recently and just kind of like leaving it off on the side, like bring the one little hacker in the background, or even not. And it's like, and most of the time,
I found that the like even if you're not taking a missile bot, the AR spotlight's such a big game changer for like fighting MIM troops and stuff like that. I just like having it.
I don't know, I agree, it's good, but it's just like when you ignore it, I find it's fine.
So general consensus: some lists are not created equal, but tags definitely have a place, and I certainly
3 tags or go home.
Yeah.
I think it's just like I think Yu Ching in particular doesn't play the tag game great. Like their 2 tags are fine.
They're also swimming in great heavy infantry that can do the role, right? Which is a big deal.
Whereas like Pano also has those heavy infantry, but their tags also have something else to bring to the table. Like the Ulahan and the Yodam and the Tikbalang and the Cutter are all like tag plus. Like they all have something that kind of sets them apart. Like the Yodam is the toughest tag, the toughest individual model in the game. The Tikbalang is a climbing plus mod stacking tag. The Klaus in the Cutter can go into marker states as tags. Like that's crazy. Like you don't usually get that on.
It's funny though. Yu Ching is while it doesn't have like the raw stats, like the BS stats of Pano, their guns tend to be better, and they have access to more interesting guns than Pano heavy infantry does sometimes. Which is again why their tags maybe aren't as attractive because they're swimming in like AP Spitfires, AP HMGs. They've got HRMs. They have HRMCs. You know what I mean? Like on their heavy infantry. Yeah, a lot of that. So I can see why Seardaman's got that opinion. I would tend to just think that it's a little more nuanced because I think it's faction by faction.
Yeah, I think most of the other factions tags have a thing to do. Like the Zeta is a solid tag.
You can build around them. Zeta is a really good tag, yeah.
The Oyuroi is not bad.
Oh, Oyuroi is really good, man. It's tag with stealth. Stealth and Mind Layer Crazy Koalas, which can be so good.
Yep. The Sphinx, I think, is a
great tag.
If his faction wasn't suffering so much right now, he would be better. But yeah, the Sphinx is a horrifying tag.
It is.
When you don't play against them often and someone reveals the fact that they have a Sphinx because it has hidden deployment, so you can't really alpha it. Like Shinobu may be good at knocking out a tag at the beginning, but not if the tag is in a I'm not on the board marker state. And then it's like, I spend my tack aware and this 40 mil camo marker moves 12 inches across the board. And you're like, oh no.
yeah, because it moves 6/6 and climbing plus.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, well then our next question is from Snake Eyes 421. That's our friend Tom. It's a question for everybody. And it says, what's your favorite current season ITS mission and what would you like to see in the next season? Dan, you go first.
I don't even know. I feel like I haven't played like half of them.
Why do you say that?
Because I haven't. Like,
do you feel like you're just playing the ones that are like for the next thing you're going to? Like
no,
you're like practicing those?
I feel like supplies and armory kind of pop up. Like, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like how many missions total are there?
Like
21 right now, plus the direct action.
Yeah, I feel like I've probably only played like 10.
Because you have to. Most events run the same missions too.
They do. They run. There's a popular mission set for sure.
Yep.
Let's see here.
My answer is rescue. Rescue is my favorite Infinity mission because it is the only mission that stands apart from all other missions.
It is. Yeah, it's super narrative. Yeah.
Every other mission is stand on zones or push buttons, and many games do stand on zones and put buttons.
I like unmasking for the same reason you like rescue, because it's about trying to unmasking my fair, because it's a narrative assassination mission, right? You're trying to figure out who the right one is and then go kill them.
So it's like a step. You get a point for revealing, and then you get the extra point for killing.
Yeah.
There's just
Yeah,
a bunch of I like unmasking because there's a bunch of little steps to get points instead of just like the one big thing or other thing. And so it's
it feels like a Hitman mission, right? Like
we
you
gotta
can't just
play
go in
Rescue
guns
Dan.
blazing and kill people. Like I like that one.
I know you haven't played Rescue Dan because no one will play it.
It has
We'll play
4
it at some
HVTs.
There's 8 HVTs on the board.
Yeah, it's 4 on each side. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's the nice thing about Rescue though. There's some cool kind of like narrative concepts in it. Like I think the whole table is a saturation zone in Rescue,
8
or it
inches
used to
from the
be.
middle.
That's right. Yeah.
It's
So shooting across the
16-inch
table
zone.
basically is always a saturation zone because you're trying not to hit civilians. Right. So the whole idea is that like you're checking your fire basically. So nobody's just like going really hot on their guns. It has some really subtle like rule application that makes the game narratively feel like you're actually carefully trying to get these people back to safety on either side while you're like fighting each other. It is
You also
like
have to defend 4 points instead of 2 points because most times you can win with 2, either by holding 2 zones or by protecting 2 out of 3 buttons. But if you play that mission, you have to fight for all 4 of those civilians at the same time. And it makes you have to spread out and change the way you design your list a lot. And you still have to be able to reach out and get one back.
Yeah. And they're neat too, because they all use some fairly unused rules like civ-evac. Like I love the fact that in unmasking, you can civ-evac your own civilians to safety if you want to. Right. You can put them on guys and like drag them around, like reposition them during the game. And that's the whole point of Rescue is you're civ-evacing these models back to your own deployment zone to try and score points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Owen. I think unmasking is my favorite for the same reason that civ-evac's yours. So for the next season, then, is there anything you guys would particularly like to see that like isn't in the current pack?
I mean, it's going to have to be missions that have reinforcements in mind. Some degree of score early, and then that's how you win, rather than like I would like any mission that has a 5-point swing on turn 3 to be removed or changed.
Yes, agreed. Anywhere where you can get a major on end game scoring to not be in. Or at least like give us 5 of them so you can run an event basically without end game scoring. I shouldn't say that you don't want to have those in the game, because you want to have the flexibility to have big win missions where you can play big moves on turn 3, but they shouldn't be zone based. You know what I mean? Like they should be for some other thing.
No, I think you just make it that the best you can do is cut people's points down, but I don't think you should be able to score enough to go to a major victory.
Well, that would still cause you a major victory if you can cut 3. If you can earn 2 and cut 3 from your opponent in the same last turn.
But that's not because
right?
you need to score at least 5, right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's not differential, is it? That's right.
If you do not let them score 5 points in 1 turn at the end of the game,
right. Yeah,
because then you can still win. You cut 3, you gain 2, right? Like you can still do it,
right?
But
it's
don't
not.
make
It's
it
not
that you
giving
can go from nothing to major in final round.
Yeah, you can't sleep on unopposed points like with hidden deploy models grabbing zones or reinforcements grabbing zones,
especially with reinforcements.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing that I'm thinking of is like I don't want people
if it's not zone based, it's not such a big deal, but it could still be kill based.
Buttons are going to be equally the problem. Killing is going to be the problem. Like because if it's buttons, then you put your reinforcements down right next to the button and you go, I spend my first short skill to push it. What do? My whole army shoots you. Okay. I got it.
I think one of the problems with Infinity is they have to walk a really fine line between scoring at the very beginning of the game and people rush scoring and round scoring, right? So like a lot of games you can't score points on turn 1. Like 40K in particular, you can't score points on turn 1. And the idea there is that the alpha strike can't necessarily earn you a whole bunch of like early on victory points.
Well, yeah, it's a good job that scoring points usually costs you the resources to kill people.
Yes.
So, like, if you just delineated killing from scoring and made it earlier in the game, like you had to capture buttons or rescue people, like that sort of thing, that are very order intensive.
Yeah, or it's stage scoring. Like if you've done part 1 of an objective, it's worth a certain amount. Part 2 is worth slightly more. Part 3 is worth slightly more, because then if you do part 1 on turn 2, then you can only get to the second stage of the stage scoring. Dan will recognize that in Malifaux, where a lot of the Malifaux secondaries, they'll have earn a point if you do this, and then earn a point if you do this. doesn't matter what turn you do them on, but you have to have accomplished it round one, and then the next thing the next round, right? So like if you had 3 tiers of scoring for certain objectives, but you don't start achieving them until turn 2 because it's hard to do them, you know what I mean? Then you get that same kind of like net effect where you don't get all the way to 10, but you can still get a climbing, like escalating amount of points over the course of the game.
Go all the way and just directly steal the XCOM missions. And you have an HVT that both sides need to capture in a rescue sense, and they both have an evac zone. And the moment one other player has it, the other guy places all of his reinforcements down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to actually say that one of the things I would like to see in this next season is that narrative like extraction thing where you're trying to get to like a vehicle, or you're trying to, you know what I mean? Like I'd like to see more narratively driven stuff like that where or I know they don't do asymmetry, but even like a central kind of objective room style mission, but the objective room's a vehicle, you know what I mean? Like where you're trying to like secure your transport, you're trying to like do something where you're trying to get off, like that makes, just like rescue and unmasking, that little narrative hook makes it less paintball-y for me. Like I like knowing kind of what the two teams are trying to do against each other, and I'd love to see more of that in the pack. And I think that would tie right into that reinforcement thing.
You have a 4x4 square that is 22 by 10, like up, so it's just in the middle, just half in your deployment. You have neutral models that are on the board. Once you capture one, you have a timer, 1 turn, 2 turns, whatever, to get that guy back to that square, and they have to be there at the end of the game. And then the other person's stopping you, and they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's a put to capture the flag. Both you trying to get the flag back to your base.
And then you can do reinforcements, because as soon as the control of that guy flips, you get to bring in your reinforcements, because it's like, oh shit, they've got him. Get the boys.
That would be good actually, to have more turn 2 reinforcement triggers than just killing.
Death.
I think that's a really good idea, because that would, if you have it tied to the mission like that, then it
and I think you should even do it immediately. Like, don't wait until the beginning of the turn. Like, he's got the guy, the plane's coming, right? Like they just show up, and now you have to get out of there because he's dropped all of his reinforcements on your head. And now your guys are like trapped because they Black Hawked their guys right on.
I think the mechanic still works. It's just like you create it so that you can't unlock whoever the civilian is until turn 2, and then they immediately get their guys on turn 2 if you've unlocked the civilian. Like it makes sense that's
sure.
There's more ways basically of unlocking that reinforcement thing and making it relevant.
Well, like locking up the fact that you can't transfer guys between groups, I think solves the problem of them getting their reinforcements even earlier.
Yeah, agreed.
You can't really do anything anyway.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like if they had their reinforcements and their army, it's going to be like an incredible flex on some individual models. Like, yeah, they're gonna have lots of orders and they're gonna do lots of stuff, but then you're gonna react with your reinforcements anyway.
Yeah.
So
I also definitely want the comlink guy to have more jobs in the missions than just being the comlink, because you're paying extra points for him right now. So I'm really hoping they've thought of that and giving additional features to the comlink guy over the course of the game to make them more interesting and make them actually like a feature of the reinforcement mechanic.
The main problem is there's only one option for a comlink guy.
I mean, for now, right? Like who knows? They might update army again when the pack comes out, right?
Seems so unappealing right now until they reveal more rules and write more missions. Like right now, I'm just like, eh.
Did you end up trying to play reinforcements?
No.
We're going to probably this weekend. I think.
Well, they had talked about it in the post about the game that he and the other guy played, but I wasn't sure if they actually did it.
No, I think we're gonna try this weekend.
But I would love some kind of mission where you have like some kind of flag, like an objective. I wouldn't say power pack deployment, but like power pack, like where that like middle objective is, and then you have to like pick it up, and so that takes investment and time and a specialist to pick it up, and then carry it to like the middle of like the backboard edge of the enemy deployment zone, or to the other kind of whatever. So you have to like carry it there and then like defend it or something like that. Somewhere where you need to be in their deployment zone with a specialist with a token. So it's like it forces you to go forward with a specialist and not just hang back and touch some buttons and then have your other guys that are killy guys. Like you need like forward, something a little different like that.
Right. No, I think that's really important. I think that like that's my main wish list right now, though, is that the missions, like thinking out loud, the missions that I really like from this last season are the ones that tell a story, and the reinforcement stuff inherently is a story. It's people showing up to the rescue, basically. It's the cavalry being called in, right? So I want more features in the missions and more missions where that makes sense, right? Where you're trying to rescue a downed, crashed ship, or you're trying to, you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to see that where it's like it's a Black Hawk Down thing. You know what I mean? Like the Black Hawk's gone down, there's pilots in it. Like it's what Owen's talking about, where you're trying to rescue like the crash guy and get him back out. Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a little bit harder without asymmetry.
I don't think so. If it's just a central objective with like HVTs or some kind of like civvy model in it, and you're both sides are trying to capture them, get them out. Like I think you could do it symmetrically. And then I think the campaign books are great for doing the asymmetrical stuff too. All right, Tyler's question again for all of us. We're on question number 3. Is how do you get your models up the board in a vanilla faction without using fire teams? I feel half my models end up in deployment doing nothing or spending too many orders to place up the midfield, not removing enemy pieces. I play Ariadne and Pano, and my friend plays Aleph with similar struggles. That's interesting because all 3 of those armies have really good midfielders where you don't have to do that. You can almost set them up at the beginning of the game where you want them to be.
So I was thinking that, like, so I was looking at like my vanilla O12, and I was like, as soon as I bring O12, it's like immediately every single model that can forward deploy, it kind of just goes in the list because it is so hard to kind of move up.
You get a lot. So, I mean, in vanilla 12, you got what? You got Ada, Andromeda, Beast Hunters, Casanova, Team Sirius, Crushers. They've all got forward deployment.
Maybe not the Crushers, but the Gangbusters.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just kind of like you put all of those in and you're like, oh yeah, this is nice.
The Gangbusters just straight up infiltrate too.
And then like Razors.
Yeah, Razors, Casanova.
And it's just like, and then it just makes your job a little bit easier of like not having to move up. But then like also it's like find at least one duo, maybe 2 that you can just move
efficiency up. Duos. Well, you love that motorized bounty hunter one. Yeah.
Just solid for 18 points. There's so much work.
So good, yeah.
Sometimes you do nothing, but then it's like, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm painting my second one because I have the bootleg Pensathleia, and so she's also gonna count as my other motorized bounty hunter.
Nice. I finally got a second motorized bounty hunter, so I don't have to use Pensathleia anymore.
Model's awesome.
It's a great model. But yeah, so that's that, and then coordinate orders, right? It's kind of, you don't have to use your command tokens to reform fire teams, and so use them to move 4 people at once.
Yeah.
And then get up the board. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, we're just one of those, like, there's always those orders when you're just moving around, when like you've killed all the people that are poking out and you just gotta reposition a little bit. Liberally use those command tokens on that.
And build out groups that don't need to move. You know what I mean? Build out if you have a faction that's capable of having like an Overwatch piece, or having like a corner watcher, or having a deployment zone watcher, or being a hacker net. Like there's a bunch of ways you can keep yours efficient.
It is a problem. I was so annoyed at fire teams when I first started playing because I was like, wait, you guys can just move. All of them they just move. You spend like 3 orders and everybody's on your deployment zone. And I'm like,
it feels so efficient until your fire team is stuck on the completely wrong side of the board from where you need to be all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they all have to stand together.
But then like I found like it wasn't as big of a deal once you start playing more midfielders. But that is kind of a thing. If you're playing vanilla, you kind of got to lean into the midfielders or be stuck in your deployment zone.
Yeah. And be aware that you're taking cheap troops to feed orders to the ones that need to go walk around. Do you have any thoughts on that, Owen?
I mean, no. You guys kind of covered it.
Yeah. And I mean, the faction that you've played the most in midfielders is Hack, and they just quite simply don't have that problem. Most things just start where you want them.
Yeah. Like if I'm if I'm going to bring midfielders and I'm going to be concerned about it, I don't know. I'm just not. Like, it just
fair enough. Yeah.
just spam. Like the few guys that I'd have sitting in my deployment zone are going to be guys who were never intending to leave it, like snipers and HMGs. And then the majority of my guys who I wanted to leave are like motorcycles or drop troops or infiltrators of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you can afford it.
That's right. Yeah. And you can mix and match because you're getting access to all the profiles for the most part.
Yeah.
Impetuous troops are also nice.
Yes. Yeah. Monstruckers, Ermendinos, especially. I love Ermendinos, man, for 8 points.
Diggers, though.
Oh, that's right. Monstruckers aren't. What's the impetuous? Is it?
Diggers.
It's Ermendinos. I'm thinking Ermendinos is what I'm thinking of. Monstruckers are just irregular, right? Yeah. They're not impetuous, though. That's right. They're great, though.
Yep.
for Client Plus engineers. All right, well then our fourth question is from Hibiko, and it's for me and Owen. And it says guts rolls between N3 and N4. I've heard multiple people claim you can't move closer during failed gut roll movement. However, from what I've seen, failed guts rolls movement is just about improving cover. Is this just a confusion from rules change from N3 to N4, or is it something else? I mean, I know in N3 you could not move towards the enemy. You had to either get to cover, get to fully obscured, or go prone. You could always go prone if you weren't already prone. The cover thing, you had to, I believe, move away from the enemy. But let's look.
Yeah, I don't know. This has come up every now and again, but like I found it guts rolls are like even less common than they were in N3. Like courage is everywhere.
So here we go. So a guts roll consists of a single normal whip roll performed at the end of an order after performing any saving rolls. If the guts roll is successful, the trooper must stand its ground and do nothing else. If a trooper would have to make a guts roll, its owner can choose instead to fill it automatically. If it's failed, it's compulsory to perform the first of these 3 options that the trooper can complete. The trooper must move up to 2 inches to completely leave the line of fire of the enemy or enemies, in the case of the coordinator or multiple arrows that perform the attack against them, the danger zone or area of effect of the attack that did not require line of fire, so get out of like the blast. If it's not possible, the trooper must move up to 2 inches to gain total or partial cover from all attackers. If the 2 previous options are not possible, the trooper must go prone, facing in any direction they choose.
You can definitely move towards then. As long as you're going
to there's 3 more bullet points. There's 3 bullet points.
Yeah.
This movement of failed guts roll does not generate arrows or activate deployable weapons or equipment. Must follow the general movement rules as well as moving and measuring, and does not allow the trooper to enter silhouette contact with enemy troopers or with mission objectives. And then troopers in an engaged state do not make guts rolls, and that's it. So yeah, so you can move towards the enemy
as long as you get into cover or partial cover.
As long as the first of those 3 things is done. So the first thing you're trying to do is completely leave line of fire. Move up to 2 inches to completely leave line of fire of the enemy or enemies that were part of the order, or the danger zone and area effect. If it's not possible, then you must move up to 2 inches to gain total or partial cover from all attackers.
It's funny because total cover is outside of line of fire.
Yeah, total or partial. And if the 2 previous options are not possible, the trooper must go prone. Not may, must go prone, facing any direction they choose. And that's it. That's N4. So yeah, I guess no need to not move towards the enemy anymore. So you can dive towards a wall, which is good because I mean the whole point is to improve your cover. It was kind of, you could seesaw too if you were pinned in between 2 troops. It would make no sense. You were like going back and forth. So I'm glad that's fixed. That makes more sense. Yeah, I'm sure it's just a holdover from N3. All right, last question. This one's from Ralph/Uthorok. And it's for everybody. And it's, what do you guys look for in gaming terrain when playing Infinity? Is it functionality more important than aesthetics? I own 12 tables of Infinity terrain, so I'm gonna let you guys go first.
Whether or not game functionality is better than... Oh, I see.
It's what do we look for? Like if we were picking out new terrain, what would be the thing that we look for? over those two?
I mean, if I'm buying stuff, probably functionality, but that's because I'm like, I want to just play the game.
Right.
But like that's just a personal thing.
I think it's a blend of the two for me because I like a good looking table. I'm obviously the point for me is I want to feel the immersion. I want to get dragged into like what's going on. I like looking at it and seeing it. But I also want my table to be able to set up multiple different ways. So I avoid terrain that is like big set piece terrain that you can't like stack or arrange together. I love crates. I love like big billboards and signs you can put on top of buildings. I like buildings that are stackable or arrangeable and rearrangeable. I love pre-painted stuff, obviously, because painting MDF is a nightmare. I hate doing it. So for me, I think it's a blend of those two things. Like I really like, I love the Infinity Terrain, the official cardstock stuff, because it's very versatile. It looks really sharp on the table. You can mix it with other companies' terrain to get a variety. So it's not all uniformly sized and stuff like that. I don't necessarily like stuff with like lots of like opening doors and detailed interiors. It looks great, but it tends to create more questions on like gameplay state. So I tend to like things like sealed windows and sealed doors that you don't go inside of. I don't mind railings and stuff, you know what I mean? But I like the overall like box to be kind of closed. So I think I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I like it to look nice, but I also need it to be not overly fiddly.
I
How are you,
like
Dan?
I like terrain that kind of throws things for like a loop. Like I love showing up to the tournament and there's like that one table where it's like these are the special rules on the table of like you can draw a line, you can't draw a line of sight through this like force field, but you can walk through it without penalty, kind of thing.
Right.
So it kind of has this like cool little area that interacts differently. And since you never know what table you can't prep for it, so you're gonna have to just you're all around. And sometimes it might give advantage or disadvantage to, depending on the army that you're playing. But I like that kind of stuff that makes you kind of like think and do things differently. So I think I prefer aesthetic over functionality as long as you have plenty of line of sight blocking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you have to have the billboards, you have to have the walls and stuff, and so snipers just don't rule the map. Basically, if you're like, okay, so if I had like two snipers that were like super snipers, can they lock down the whole map? And if the answer is yes, then it's not.
I like there being lots of little nooks and crannies to duck into too. So I like things like vending machines and cars. Like I'm a huge fan of that new pre-printed vehicle set that Micro Studios made. Just because there's always roads printed on Infinity Gaming mats, you know what I mean? And they're never full of anything. And they look weird if you stick buildings on them. So I love having these like big like transport trucks and hover cars and crap buses and stuff to put in there, because I feel like that's the stuff you want to be able to duck in between. And you can kind of arrange it however you want. Like it's just like crashed and everyone's run out of it.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think the answer is somewhere in the middle. But versatile, I think, and good looking can be a blend. And we are like, when Owen and I first started playing this game together, I had one Infinity table with a train, and it was all like MDF stuff or stuff I'd built myself in the very beginning. It's crazy 8 years later that we are like spoiled basically for terrain that's like quick to assemble. It's super durable, it's very practical, and it looks incredible on the table and requires so little work. Like the new pre-painted stuff from Warsenal is like mind-boggling, because it's literally MDF being painted on a computer by Tom Shadle and then printed on. So it looks like they're like airbrushed, hand painted stuff, except he's just doing it digitally. And then they're just printing it onto the MDF like as you go. So it looks wild. Like it's so nice. And then the stuff in Europe from Bandua and Micro Art Studio, all the cardstock stuff that like Corvus Belli's made themselves, the great cardstock stuff from Tinker Turf that I've painted or built for my tables. Like you can make an Infinity table very quickly that looks really, really good. And we're incredibly lucky that all these companies have basically like risen to making all this awesome stuff. Well, that's it. That's it. We're gonna pump the brakes. That was 5. That was half of our overall questions in the question bucket. So if we do this again next week, then we should probably save some to go and ask us more Infinity related questions. The link will be in the video description, and hopefully we'll got some news at Nova Open next couple weeks. We can chat about all the new exciting stuff. But we're in season wind down, and we'll get to go through Interplanetaria. What we can do next week is we can recap how the events went. We'll recap Spring Offensive. Maybe we'll be able to get the winner on for a podcast, and then we'll recap hopefully how you guys did at Hotter Than Hell's Basement as well, and do some like tournament recap stuff. And then we'll be able to talk about Interplanetaria 2 coming up soon.
Now I gotta pick a faction.
God damn it.
God damn it.
I mean, it's only we're recording this on a Wednesday, so it's only 3 days away.
Yeah.
Don't practice or anything. Don't think.
Why would I do that?
I know.
No, practice is for people who expect to win.
That's right. Owen likes to lower his expectations of himself. Yeah. That way he's pleasantly surprised. Yeah. He's an agent of chaos even to his own mind.
Yeah. Maybe we just bring nothing but flamethrowers.
Just all templates? Go non-lethal.
No, specifically flamethrowers.
Just specifically flamethrowers.
Yeah.
How many flamethrowers? So what faction would you play? Would you play QK with nothing but continuous damage weapons? Because you can still take Azrael's that way. Go QK and have every weapon have continuous damage.
I'm thinking US Ariadne.
You can get a lot of flamethrowers in US Ariadne.
So
I've still got flamethrower PTSD from you playing US Ariadne.
You've got Marauder squads and
grunts. Yeah.
And like between the two of them, that's most of your army.
Yeah.
I think that might. Oh, and Minutemen. How can I forget +1 burst like flamethrower?
How can you forget Minutemen?
Oh, sorry. +1 burst, shock, light flamethrower.
Jesus Christ.
How does the light flamethrower get shock?
Because the man wielding it has BS.
Because they know just where to burn you. Because that guy's basically he's whistling stuck in the middle with you while he cuts off your ear.
Yeah, because he's weirdly a heavy infantry with 1 wound. No wounding cap, no dogged. He's just a heavy infantry with 1 wound and armor 3.
Yeah, that doesn't care if you're a cop or not. He's gonna cover you in gasoline.
Yeah, he's got CC20 with CC attack -3 for some reason, and then he sprays you with the triple blast flamethrower because Link and shock flamethrower, and it's got an X visor.
Why not?
Gotta get that AP rifle. I think I have enough Minutemen still.
You had a lot of US item minis because we had like, oh, that's right, you did solo power those guys.
But I still have more now.
Somewhere.
Unknown Ranger doesn't have a flamethrower. Wild Bill doesn't have a flamethrower.
No, if you count continuous damage things, you can take anybody with light rocket, maybe. If you just do the theme of like everyone's got continuous damage, which would be Rosie.
Does give all the Mavericks.
Yeah, and Mavericks, because Mavericks weirdly all have and Mavericks are amazing.
You can't bring the Specialist Maverick though. Actually, wait. Are any of the people with the Rosie's a specialist? Rosie has to do
all the buttons, just do every job.
Yeah, we're gonna play highly classified, and you get 1 generic special operative.
Perfect. You get Rosie and Mavericks. Who's got a heavy flamethrower? Hang on, who's got a heavy rocket launcher though? Marauders have heavy rocket launchers. I thought that the Ratnik. Oh no, there's no Ratnik in this one. What's the one that's in this? The Blackjack. I thought the Blackjack had something like that.
No, he's got the T2.
Oh, that's right, T2 sniper.
Chest mines. Yeah.
Yeah, no Bernie. The Urigan MRL has continuous damage, though, I'm pretty sure. So you can take a tractor mule.
2. You could bring wait, is it the TR one?
Yeah, it is. I think it is.
Urigan MRL is the TR.
I'm pretty sure the Urigan MRL does. I don't remember.
It is anti-material D. No, that's the Katyusha.
It's the Katyusha that has it? Okay. They're both TR.
No, AP plus shock, not fire.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah. Out of the list.
You're dead to us. Who's got Flamage Spears?
Nobody. This is Ariadne.
This is Ariadne. They didn't take Flamage Spears, Ash. I'm looking anyway. Who's got Flamage Spears? Somebody's got to have Flamage Spears.
The real question is who
not even
can
the
be a
list.
lieutenant? Oh, the Minuteman can.
The Minuteman can be a lieutenant. There you go.
Yeah, and he still has his flamethrower.
Perfect.
And then we just
You've
fill
done it.
The rest with grunts.
Grunts?
Now you make me want to bring a completely non-lethal.
Do it. Nothing but sticky. Just stick everybody. The entire game. It's time to get sticky.
Yeah, this might be a pretty cancerous list. So it's,
I like this is the,
Group 1.
the
Group
metric
1
by which
is
all of Owen's lists are measured.
5 Minutemen with AP rifles, and all of them have double tap light flamethrowers.
Oh, Jesus.
And then 5 Mavericks with SMG rocket launcher. And then Group 2 is Rosie and 3 infiltrating flamethrower grunts.
Amazing.
We could drop Rosie for 2 more grunts and have 15 orders.
And no specialists.
And no specialists.
Perfect. It's
Just bring it for armory.
I've come
Just
to take
rush,
the room.
rush with flamethrowers.
Yeah, here's my 5 infiltrating grunts. I just need to roll a 8. 8? 8?
All
8?
the 8s. And then
One
you're
of them will
swimming in. Well, you get a beast hunter too, because you get a heavy flamethrower.
Can one of them, maybe we upgrade one to a beast hunter?
Yeah, you do. Get the super heavy pistol.
They get the 17.
They get the
it's
heavy
not the
pistol plus
same.
1 burst. No, it's not the same. He's got DA, but he's got a plus 1 burst heavy pistol. So you can
Perfect.
fight
Now I'm
with
at
that in melee.
4.5, 299.
Nailed it.
There, we'll post it. Sending it.
Done.
I don't have all my Mavericks, but I do have enough motorcycles that I could use.
That you
them
could just do
as.
Mavericks. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this one right in episode thoughts.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
people can look at it and be like, "What the hell are we talking
Perfect.
about?"
Yeah, text it to the group chat and I'll put it in the episode notes and be like,
No, in the episode notes. I put it right into the episode thoughts right now on Discord.
oh, perfect, even better. Just so people can be like, what is happening?
Yeah, this is what we're talking about right now. Here's my tournament list. It's 20 orders because of Impetuous.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Pretty cancerous indeed.
Oh no, it's 1 patcher.
Oh, get a patcher.
Whole
Get a
list
patcher
goes
in
away.
there.
I can't bring a patcher. I just mean they have
Oh,
a patcher.
right.
Immune to continuous. It doesn't work anymore. Can Mavericks link? Mavericks can link, right? That's right.
Yeah, they sure can. Yeah, they can Harris, I'm pretty sure.
They can duo.
Oh.
They can Harris if you bring a 1/1/2.
Right.
Or I guess you could put Rosie in there.
She's a wild card, isn't she? I mean,
I
they can
dropped
get
Rosie
off.
for extra grunt.
Yeah.
No Rosie.
Yeah, we dropped
More
Rosie
grunt.
and instead brought an extra grunt and the Beast Hunter.
You
Oh,
gonna
Jesus,
roll
it's already
those
happening.
8s?
Yeah, I roll four dice, get 4 8s.
Mavericks
And my
maybe at
opponent-
5? Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
This is, and they all have MSV1, which I think is hilarious.
Yep. And MIM3.
Yep.
And smoke grenades.
Mavericks are
So
amazing. Yeah.
You can
Mavericks
just
are
lay
really
the hate of smoke grenades and then walk your Minuteman squad into the smoke and then end your turn and be
good.
like,
Walk
go
them
ahead.
into the smoke and then just intuitive attack out of the smoke. at
Oh yeah,
people.
with their sweet whip 12.
Whip 12 because the whole army's whip 12 because for some reason you woke up
No,
brain
the
tumors.
Mavericks are real, but they're not able to do anything with that whip.
The Beast Hunter's even whip 12. Yikes.
Yeah. But
Trash.
every model except for the Beast Hunter is armor 3.
That's true, yeah, because they're all wearing Tuzium armor. They're all wearing
Yeah.
$1 million back
But a lot of
plates.
them are impetuous.
Yeah, but
sure
you just
are.
say I'm not going to get impetuous
Yeah, you can unimpetuous the Mavericks still, yeah.
because they're all motorcycles.
Yeah.
And you go, nope,
Oh.
we're not. I get
Yeah.
cover.
I get cover. I get
Arm
cover
6
MSV1. Yeah. Now they lose their smoke grenades if they leave the bike, but I mean, whatever.
Just being cover on the bike. Whatever. You're size 4.
They sure are.
Dodge plus 1 inch off of your bike and prone. It's completely legitimate.
They're 8-4 movement with armor 3.
Yeah. Dan, you want to play this week? For the event?
Yeah.
I've got a
I
list
love
in
that Owen's
mind.
gotten excited. I love it. I can hear the excitement in Owen's voice just because he's expecting a reaction for this list.
I got a crappy juice list.
The
Maybe even
downside-
2 to try out.
So
Look, I
and you got
used-
X5s on all those AP rifles, which is actually shocking because it means that you fight up to 32 with them.
And they're 5-man pure link.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they're
well, that's what I mean. So
BS16.
BBS 16 and you're 0 up to 32.
Yep.
Are they 13s or 12s for the BS? I think they're only 13s.
13.
Really?
13. The Ohio's are 13s. That's what they get
Wow.
for being heavy infantry.
Oh, right. Yeah, the like
One wound heavy
pseudo
infantry.
elite.
But they're 1 wound heavy infantry, period. No shenanigans. They're just a one
just shock immune. And there's no cover. But they have burst 3 light flamethrowers.
They have burst 3 light flamethrowers. In case
well, you could have taken the FO. If you want, because all the FO and the BS Tech Shock X Visor are also light flamethrowers. And the Lieutenant's +1 command token. Nice.
Is there any, if I drop them all,
even the missile launcher has a light flamethrower?
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can have all that shit in there. You can get all kinds of stuff.
What would I mean, but what would 5 points do for me? 4 points gets us the missile launcher.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it feels like that goes against the spirit.
It a little bit, but like the whatchamacallit,
because then I'll just use the flamethrower or the missiles.
I was just gonna say that if you just spend a point here and there, you could get the AP, the whatchamacallit, the Fort Observer.
I do well. The Fort Observer is straight up cheaper, so like getting him is real easy. So we could throw one of those in. Maybe let's throw 2. Why not? Just
you've got actual specialists. You know what I mean? So you can maybe push a button and flash pulses if you need to go non-lethal. Although you're committing to flame murder.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
And weirdly, the lieutenant marks himself out by not having an X visor.
Well, now the other 2, I guess they're specialists.
He
marks himself out because he's the only one with a rifle. Yeah, everybody else has AP rifles.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, does this list give a crap if you kill the lieutenant?
Probably not.
Are they all veteran?
No, it's
no.
Who cares?
You'll be where you want to be. Yeah, you'll be where you want to be at that point.
Because the Mavericks all duo together.
Yeah, the Mavericks going to go wherever you feel like, and then get off their bikes if they want, and be in cover with mimetism suppressing.
Yep, because they suppress with their SMGs.
Yeah.
And the grunts are going to either start in their deployment zone or do nothing but feed the Beast Hunter orders.
And like literally every gun in this army is AP. Because the SMGs are all AP, and so are the rifles.
AP rifles,
right? So like you're having every armor,
or ignoring cover, which is usually better than having cover.
Or mimetism because you've got MSG1 on all the base guys.
Or flamethrower because flamethrowers.
Or flamethrowers, yeah, that's right, yeah. And when you're making, like, even if you're a tag, you don't want to make 3 cascading flamethrower rolls, even if they're damage 13. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be chucking that dice over and over and over again and maybe just melting.
You also don't like it when at the start of the game you've deployed your guys and some random grunt is just chilling on the rooftop next to them.
I think you want to win. I think you want your opponent to go first so that you can deploy after them.
Put the grunts all over there.
That's what I mean, right? Like you want your
opponent, because they're not even camo. They don't even suffer the like, oh, you can't be with an 8. It's like, this is just a guy. He's just a guy.
He's just gonna stand there. Yeah. You're just gonna deploy on their half of the board.
Yeah.
And be like, hi, I'm a flamethrower. Because there's literally there's no rule in N4 stopping that grunt from being on your fire team with a heavy flamethrower.
Yeah. I'm gonna be right on the line facing you directly.
Yeah.
Hello.
Whatever angle totally fucks you. And that's, I think that's the gimmick in this list that no one's going to see coming, is that like you're going to lose the roll, you're going to choose deployment, you're going to make them deploy first, and then you're just going to scatter grunts on top of them. And if you can roll those 8s, it's going to be a bad time. Because you have how many of those grunts? 4? Jesus.
I mean, you could probably change it to get some more of them. The problem is like you have too many points left over.
But I was gonna say 4's enough. Yeah, because you the body count becomes actually like important at that point, right? Like that's what's holding you back. Yeah. But that infiltration grunt is a legit terrifying arm 3 in cover. And yeah, hard rolling 8s to go into the opponent. I love that they're still 4-2. They're like the only 4-2 thing left in the game. Man, US Ariana sucks. They're so, I mean, it's like they have this gimmick that you're about to unleash on people, but still, they can't.
Do you bring an alt list at all?
I don't think you can,
because you could bring an alt list, and like you could bring another list that you could have.
Sure, but yeah, you could bring blackjacks or
yeah, you can build a normal list. Yeah, like I do have. I have blackjacks, but the problem is like you're gonna look at it and you go, boy, to win this objective, I sure would bring my list that has guys who can do objectives.
Highly classified is the one that's going to be a problem for you, right?
Yeah.
Is Rosie a named character? Because taking Rosie
is a named character
because she could do net undermine. She's got decharges. She can do all the decharge ones. Like there'd be a reason.
You 1-to-1 drop her with a Maverick because then the 4 remaining Mavericks are duoed together.
Yeah, I would take Rosie just so that you could do all of those objectives because she's got decharges. She's got a name, so she counts as being a veteran for long service. She forward deploys. You're gonna she needs to live though because she's gonna be basically the thing that lets you do highly classified.
Your 2 Minutemen FOs.
I mean, you do, but
they definitely have visors. They can do.
You do have the. You can do the. Yeah, no, the Mavericks can do the visor ones. Yeah, the Mavericks can do the visor ones, but you have no paramedic. You can't do any of the engineering or paramedic ones. Period, and you can't do any of the hacker ones. You need to use your FOs to do the hacker ones if they're going to.
The highest CC in the faction is 21 on the Beast Hunter. He has to go win if we get a Predator.
He does have 2 bursts though, because he got pistol +1 burst, so he can actually burst twice with his heavy pistol. So he's damage 14 with AP with the heavy pistol and melee.
Does he get the +2 damage to CC attack with his pistol?
He does because he's CC attack. Yeah, because he's making the skill.
Yeah. So his heavy pistols are damage 16 shock.
I think so. Yeah.
Natural Born Warrior.
Yeah. With burst 2.
Wow. Fuck you, Fides and Speculo killers. Welcome to this here is Beast Hunter Town. I've come to assassinate.
Go beast mode.
Yeah.
And he's got +1 damage AP mines, which I think is hilarious.
Weird ability there.
Yeah, I've never seen a +1 damage mine before.
Yeah. I hope you don't forget that. Because I bet you do.
Yeah. Damage 14 AP mines.
I got 3 points left. What can we do here? Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. You've made a silly list. What a great way to end the episode. And Dan sits there wondering what in the hell he's going to do about that.
Look, all I do is lean into my Drew's core that only has 1 Drew's in it, and it's a pure link.
All you do is if you win the roll for initiative for deployment, you pick deployment and you make Owen deploy first because that fucks the grunts. That is
because you're like, here's my Drew's link with our grenade launcher. These 3 grunts stand around him.
Yeah, exactly. There's only one thing to remember when you play Owen is you pick deployment and you make him deploy first.
But you can't go into my deployment, can you?
You can stand right on the line.
You can stand on the line on an 8.
With a 10.5-inch flamethrower.
With armor 3 and cover.
That's fine. Everybody's on the ground and he does speculative attacks. Shooting in the air. That grunt, if you waste orders to shoot speculative attacks at the 11-point grunt standing outside your deployment, yeah, all right. He dodges. He got hit. Oh no. What did you do? I isolated him. Oh. Okay.
It's the fact that he's going to stand at an angle where he can see everything, right?
Yeah. And then probably have like a Minuteman just standing.
Yeah.
Just to be
like, his X-Visor.
I might hit you. Who knows?
Why not?
It would be very annoying to deal with for sure.
I'm glad we worked this out. I'm glad we worked out a gimmick that Owen can get behind. Something terrible.
Something different, something bad.
It's definitely going to be different and bad in a whole bunch of ways.
The problem is, but
you are going to gotcha some people. Yeah, no, I was going to gotcha some people with the grunts, and it's going to be funny.
I feel like this would be a good firefight list.
Sure, there's very few specialists.
Yeah, well, you could just drop the specialists. Like you don't need them. I brought them because I chose
the all list is no specialists.
Yeah, the alt list just turns the Minutemen back into not forward observers, and Rosie just becomes a Maverick. And now you have no specialists anymore, and it's back to the
specialist skills. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a drop troop. I ARO flamethrower.
In every direction.
Everyone shoots them in all directions. Rockets everywhere.
Tremendous. What a way to end this episode.
I don't think anyone else could do it better.
I don't think anyone is playing US Ariadne right now, so I think you'll have 2 things going for you. You're gonna dark horse the shit out of this, and no one's gonna.
I don't think I can do the scenarios though. Like I don't think I can win. All it would be is like, he's got an HMG, boys.
You're leaning completely on the enemy cannot push a button if you disable their hand method of playing Infinity.
He's got Atalanta.
I mean, all you do is infiltrate a grunt next to Atalanta, and she can't do anything.
What if Atalanta's far back?
Atalanta won't be far enough.
She won't be far enough.
Not enough that grunt goes, I take my first order and I walk my short, stubby legs 4 inches, and then I shoot Atalanta and die.
Or I crawl over to her with my light shotgun and point blank her.
Yeah, and then she kills me anyway because she has her pistols at point blank with marksmanship, and you're like, Fuck.
Oh, I just meant templates. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Well, sweet. All right. Well, good luck finding those miniatures and assembling that crew. I'm excited to see the picture of what you come up with.
Yeah, the challenge would be the getting the miniatures.
I'm sure you can.
Because I have a bunch of it already.
I'm sure if you just post in Calgary and say who's got these USR miniatures that they don't want because no one plays this faction,
I need a box of
someone will find them. Yeah, I need a box of Minutemen and I need 2 Mavericks. A box of Mavericks.
I mean, I have 2, not Desperados, but the other ones, the Russian ones.
Oh, the Dynamos.
Yeah, and I just use them as
it works.
Like they're still Ariadna.
Oh, they're Mavericks. Yeah,
they're the other Mavericks.
Yeah, they're the Cosmoflot Mavericks.
Yeah,
the less good Mavericks.
They're considerably less good.
Considerably less good Mavericks. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been a slice. Good luck at the tournament, guys. And I'm hoping that Summer Siege goes off without a hitch. And we'll give you guys the full rundown on that next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks to our patrons for making all this possible. Thanks to Owen and Dan for coming on and answering all these questions. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Good night, everybody.
Bye.